welcome back to the Message Marketing Pod. I'm your host, Christopher Malotti from Malotti Media, and this is another special episode of the podcast where the four marketers who are my colleagues, Ariel, Kristen, and Mike from all their own marketing agencies, we all get together and discuss great topics. So I know I get a lot of great feedback from clients and listeners who love the four different perspectives on these topics. So today's episode is on the Metaverse. What's the evolution of Facebook and where is technology heading, especially in regards to social media? So I hope you enjoy this episode and stay tuned. Thanks. Hi there and welcome back to the Four Marketers podcast. We are today covering a new topic that addresses the whole meta and metaverse and the evolution of Facebook. So first and foremost, I will start with introductions. So my name is Christopher Malotti from Malotti Media Copywriting and Message Marketing Bureau. We help you write words and articulate your message to your customers.
Hi, I'm Mike Sandys, Managing Director of Oddball Marketing. We're an action-orientated marketing agency.
Hi, I'm Ariel Peters from Two Giraffes. We are a full-service creative video agency. So we do everything from TV commercials to multi-channel social campaigns.
And my name's Kristen Hancock and I'm from Fontaine Swatch Branding and Design Studio, and we create profound brands for our clients.
Wonderful. So we're tackling a tricky and a new evolving topic, which is Meta. So Meta has been all in the news. We've heard Mr. Zuckerberg get up there and really explain, right, here we go. And so originally, concept was we're changing our business from Facebook to Meta and then all the individual businesses under, but now he has revealed much more. So let's open the chat. Kristen, would you like to start?
Well, I think the first question we've got to ask ourselves is why? Why did Mark do it? Why has he decided, and why has he called himself? My mate Mark, yeah.
My mate Mark.
And why has he decided on Meta? I think, to me, one of the core themes that's coming through is he is running the largest social organisation in the world. He's now actually saying we're not just a social organisation, we're a technology business.
Yep.
But we're not just going to be a broad technology business, we're going to be a technology business that has a single vision. And that single vision is to create a metaverse.
Which is a new frontier.
Which is a new frontier.
Huge.
And, and with Facebook, as it was previously known, and now Meta, there's, the focus for them has always been to create amazing platforms, but also to have an e-commerce angle to it. And I think in creating a single vision towards a metaverse, they're creating a whole new environment where we as communities can engage. I think starting there is the why. And it's a big statement huge. Because he's now organised all aspects of what was Facebook with this single vision of we will create a metaverse.
I think the interesting thing there is also, at least from initial thoughts and what they're sharing with us, is the timing on it. Is that they're also being a bit realistic too and saying that they can see the vision. So he's playing a very good key visionary role there in seeing how this is going to evolve. And we know that there's quite a few of the larger organizations that have been playing this metaverse kind of space for quite a while. When you think about what is Meta, what is Metaverse, we're talking really about the virtual reality side of things and the augmented reality. But then the community side of things. But it's interesting that they've got that time frame. I think it's like 5 to 10 years.
5 to 10 is most of what the...
And they're building all the infrastructure pieces, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be huge. And what are the ramifications for marketing? I mean, I've seen it all. I've seen people, big brands like Nike and Gucci are sort of patenting things in those kind of metaverses already and then jumping on it first. I've seen, NFTs, and we've seen people buying land in virtual reality and all these kind of things. I mean, this is huge. So, is it going to be a thing?
It could be a whole new playing field for marketers, really.
I think it is.
I think so. I mean, we're on the fringe of what is augmented reality and what is virtual reality in terms of marketing. And Meta really is, as my layman's understanding is, it's trying to connect the physical with the augmented or the computer generated. So, and where Meta is going is more trying to draw our physical world into a computer generated world, but allow us to exist in our own communities. It's almost creating like the false paradise. So all of us, my life and my world today is really driven by what I do with from a physical perspective. So I wake up in the morning, I go to work, etc., hang out with my family. But now we're trying to create communities that I don't have to do most of those physical aspects, but I can still be physically present.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I can I can just go from home and then go to whatever device I've got, and I'll have my own avatar, and I can be sitting in the office and working with people and communicating with you. But now we're not physically here, we're actually going to be you'll have your own avatar, and we're sitting here, and that's just pretty amazing. It's pretty out there. And then if you extrapolate that to, that's an amazing world to be in. Now what type of marketing influence can I have on you, and how can I be a part of that space and that community?
That's I suppose that's the big unknown, really, isn't it? Around what's that future going to look like for marketing opportunities for business. That with these companies being involved, there's a commercial element to it.
Of
It's
course.
guaranteed.
Right. But it's also the next generation is already embracing it. I'm seeing my nieces and nephew. They're on programs that are already embracing, branding and all those kind of things online. Like official brands that are. And people, I think I saw someone pay $10,000 recently for a virtual purse that was on one of these video games, but it was officially done by the brand.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like someone that had paid, and it was. So I feel like it's a typical thing in marketing now is. The new generation embraces it, and then the companies go, "Oh, great!" And then the older generation are slow or reject it, and then you've got the younger generation that see it as normal, and the mayhem begins.
We're just trying to get the more bloated corporate companies to go onto social and do TikTok, and now we're already getting into Meta and the Metaverse.
New dimension. So
and I think for particularly businesses like yours, Ariel, which is an amazing videography business and production, but in an augmented reality, how do you take advantage of the opportunities, and what opportunities are presented for video as opposed to computer-generated animation, which is really what the augmented environment is?
Yeah, because we're a fully fledged animation studio as well, we're actually in collaboration with a Bitcoin company as we speak, and Metaverse is going to play into the video we're creating for them. And then on top of that, we're actually working with a couple projects that are using that more AR world and having video incorporated as you do walkthrough. So I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity to play both of those together.
And that speaks to personalisation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So everything now it's they're seeing. They, being Meta, are seeing a world where that world that you create that is augmented is entirely personalised to what really makes your life a better experience. And then think of the tailoring that's going to come with it.
Oh, yes. There'll be advertising space, there'll be, and I feel like blockchain will be the backbone of it, coincidentally. It's just
it's got to be. But
because there's a way to secure ownership over things, right?
So,
real estate.
And you take, Mike, your world where, a lot of the work that you do now with paid advertising is data-driven. You're moving from a world where you understand what I do as an individual when I'm on screen and when I'm interacting through a device. But all of a sudden, if we're in a metaverse and I've gone from 30% of my time is on a device, but now 80 to 90% of my time is on a device, how much more data have you got?
This is blowing my mind right now.
Absolutely, yeah. I suppose that's the interesting and yet potentially scary thoughts around what's going to happen.
Scared. The data guy is scared.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we look at the numbers and think, yes, this is so much potential.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we're just having those conversations actually with a few of the team.
And we were talking about the cookieless world, and now we're already going into this new universe and a whole new way to utilize
and you think
data.
about it, particularly from a market research and understand consumer behavior. How many challenges have we had in terms of having to do all this sort of just individualized research studies to sort of see how people behave in certain situations.
Yeah.
And yet there'll be this ability to see everything from everyone.
Right now you can hide in the real world.
Yeah, exactly.
But we can get so much richer information around how people are actually behaving, decisions are being made, why things are being done. That you just don't get. At the moment, we're guessing.
So if I'm in an augmented reality and I come into the coffee machine and I pick up 3 different coffee capsules, but then decide on that one,
Yeah.
Look, that's how granular we're getting now, and I think it's just the data that's going to come out of this. And then, Chris, for you and I, we're in branding, you're in the messaging. The ability for us now to capture attention,
Yes.
we're going to have people there, but it's going to be so much harder to maintain that attention because it's really going to be you've got a perfect world that you get to create yourself, assuming. But there'll also be feed coming in. So how am I going to, as a brand agency, differentiate and really, but hold your experience?
Yes.
Well, that's the biggest unknown at this stage, isn't it? Because Metaverse, in its own name as such, and the concept, it's like the cloud. It's a concept only. So it doesn't describe exactly which service. And we already know that there's already going to be challenges within different services going to be competing to get you onto their service. Are they going to have open platforms that allow you to sort of have other people come into the ecosystem and be a part of it and develop for it? Or is it going to be a closed system where you kind of can be in that one and you're in a controlled environment or by whatever company takes the ownership? And then so it's this interesting challenge where you've got potentially this very open opportunity for marketing and advertising. Potential things that we could do. Yeah, in terms of where you could put advertising, how you can influence people through advertising. At the same time, though, it can very much narrow what options we have.
Because if Meta just shuts it down to theirs, and then we have the other globals like Amazon and Google and Apple saying, well, we're going to have our platforms.
And it could be.
And is it going to be shared and open source, or is it just going to be you've got to choose your platform? And it's
a whole battleground frontier.
I know, we get to see, and that's the key, isn't it? It's like, so I think it's like anything that we experience as marketers and those that are in marketing and listen to our podcast. The guaranteed is it's going to be change. We're going to get change, and when it comes, the way that we've experienced change with anything to do with internet and social media is it starts, but then the ones that are chosen rapidly get momentum. And the adoption rates pick up. Yeah. So your big choice is: are you an early adopter? Yeah. Do you invest when it comes out? Do you sit back and wait? And I suppose it's interesting to maybe get some thoughts on there, because if you look at the way that the internet race and the social media race panned out back in the early days, there was lots, there was hundreds, there was thousands of them, but we've ended up with consumer effectively chose a handful. Yeah. And those handful are now the largest companies in the world. Are we going to feel the same way? Is it going to be the same way?
Well, consumer driven is very true. Like, I know that the brands, they are pioneering certain technology, but in the end, it's like the mass decides. Yeah. And we've seen that. Like, we've seen TikTok come up, and we've seen Instagram come up, and Facebook going down, and it's all driven by the customer as much as these companies are pushing them. So So final insights. Where did we end? I mean, I think it's as good as any, right?
Well, I mean, I think this is the starting of a conversation. Start from our point of view in terms of Meta. There's so much more to come. So it's going to be really interesting to kind of keep an eye on it. The key challenge for most businesses will be, when do I start to get involved? Yep. Do I go in early? Do I wait and see as it matures and see what actually comes out of it? I think there are certainly elements of what, in terms of that concept of Metaverse, that already there's a lot of retailers already getting involved in it and embracing. And I think some of that's exciting to see. And I think certainly through COVID, I think that's sort of encouraged a lot more of that, because there are some massive advantages to augmented reality in terms of how we can use it from a shopping point of view and an actual convenience that does enrich and make our lives a lot easier. And then but it'll be interesting to see how they then evolve that from the community side of things and getting people on board without the negative elements that we associate with social media and what the companies are trying to do to us.
Yeah. I think, I'd just reiterate that. I think it's coming. It's not going to go away. You've got too much commitment now from the likes of Facebook. Yeah. So I think the others will follow. It will mean change. But I also feel that they will be pushing themselves for adoption. So for marketers out there and businesses like us, one thing that we found when the main platforms were pushing for adoption, they made it cost effective. Mm-hmm. So there should be avenues for you to dabble in it as it comes out without too much expense, and that's where I'd be really trying to look at.
And if it does take off, being an early adopter
Adopter
always
is
means that you
always,
just have
yeah.
so much more publicity, so many more followers, so many more visitors, whatever they're going to be setting it up as. If it is something that's going to be the next big thing,
Absolutely.
of course it is
Yeah.
best to be the one that's there at the forefront of it.
Well, time will tell.
Yep.
And we hope we look back to this podcast in a year or 2 or 3 and go, well, there you go, it was the start. So thank you everyone for joining us for the 4 Marketers podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode, this quick podcast about Meta and where it's heading. And we look forward to talking to you again in the next episode.